Hey everybody, welcome. This is Khalil Amani. I am Professor Khalil Amani, and this is Khalil Amani's World 100. I got the old man look on. I see I'm going back gray, y'all. I'm going to go back gray for a moment. Now, if I decide to get another job, I'm retired. But if I decide to go back to work, I'll go back to black. But right now, we're going to rock the gray. So I got the gray coming in. I like the gray too. Don't get it twisted. Well, welcome everybody. Again, I'm Professor Khalil Amani, and I want to talk to Judah Nazareth. I think that's how you say his last name. Judah Nazareth. I want to give you a shout out and just speak some words of wisdom and some words of encouragement to you, young man. I am your elder, yeah. I'm 65. I'm a little older, but I understand you're creeping up on 50, so you're getting up there too. But I want to just have a little conversation with Judah Nazareth. I understand he's about to debate the guy from Arkansas. I'll say his name one time. Israel Doctrine. I call Israel, I'll say it twice. No, I'll say it once. I call that man the Arkansas YouTuber, and I call him the Arkansas Gentleman. Even though 70% of his life on YouTube, he's not a gentleman at all. I said I'm talking about the guy that Judah Nazareth is about to debate. I'll call his name one more time. Israel Doctrine. I affectionately call him the Arkansas YouTuber or the Arkansas Gentleman, even though most of the time on YouTube, he's not very gentlemanly to people. But I want to talk to Judah Nazareth, heretofore Judah. We have something in common. I used to be an Israelite, or more appropriately, we were called Hebrew Israelites back in the 80s. I was with the Yahweh Ben Yahweh camp, Mr. Judah, if you didn't know. And we have another thing in common. My Israelite, or my Hebrew Israelite name, was Judah also, aka Yehuda. So we have that in common. I used to go by the name of Judah also. But I wanted to take a moment. And just talk to Judah, brother Judah, young man living in Japan. For my audience, if you don't know, Judah Nazareth is a YouTuber. He is what they call a Torahite Israelite. He's an Israelite that believes in the Old Testament only. He don't believe in Jesus and all that New Testament stuff. He has a group known as the Torahites. I'm talking to my people before I talk to Judah. He's a black man. He's an African American man. I'm not going to say so-called. That's what we call ourselves. The majority of us that look like me. We black, we African American. But he's an Israelite, a black man who married a Japanese woman, and he lives in Japan with his 4 children. I'm kind of envious of that. That sounds pretty cool, to live abroad in a foreign country, especially a place like Japan. I think Japanese women are among some of the prettiest women on earth. I do. I love looking at Japanese women. They're beautiful. They're dainty. They're petite. I mean, there's fat Japanese too, but I'm speaking in general. Japanese women are dainty and petite. They look very like they love their men, and they just look good. I've never dated a Japanese woman, I'm married anyway, but I've never had a chance to really date a Japanese woman. I've dated a lot of races, but I'm envious of Brother Judah living in Japan with a Japanese wife. I think that's rather cool. I just do. As much as I love black women, black people, I like to see interracial couples. I think that's just Jim Dandy. But, and so Brother Judah has a debate coming up with the guy from Arkansas. But last night I watched Brother Judah. He was live from Japan. And I was drawn into his story. He was talking about his life, his backstory, his narrative. It was riveting, to say the least. It was gut-wrenching and heart-wrenching. It was very personal and emotional, so much so that Judah cried tears throughout his talk and sharing of his world and his life with us. And I respect that. I respect people that tell their life stories without fear or favor, without worrying about being judged and all the crap that comes with putting one's life on social media. Personally, I'm an advocate of sharing sharing your testimony. That's why my channel is called Khalil Amani's World 100. I was in a religious cult. I was a government informant. I was in the Witness Protection Program. I wrote a book about it. I've got a series of videos about it. I've never hid who I was and what my background was. And I'm proud of the life I've led. I'm not ashamed to say I was a government informant. I'm not ashamed to say I was in the Witness Protection Program. It's called living life. I'm not ashamed to be where I'm at today at 65. Retired, own my home, got a beautiful wife, children, grandchildren. I've made it. I beat life's ass. If I die tomorrow, I've won this war called life. I'd like to live another 15, 20 years. But only the universe knows the last day that we take our last breath. But I live each day to the fullest. At 65, I'm not struggling. I'm living life. And so I watched Mr. Judah Nazareth last night as he poured out his heart to you and I. I mean, it was powerful. And it was great for him, as it was for some of us. Many of the things that Judah Nazareth talked about, I can relate, I can empathize with, and I can sympathize with. I too come from a very abusive family where my father put hands and feet on my mother on the regular, where my father beat his kids pretty much on the regular. So all of that conversation that Judah Nazareth was sharing about his dad, Christmas Day, and his dad looking crazy, and then all of a sudden starts beating his mom, and mom grabs a knife and tries to kill him, and the uncle steps in and grabs the knife and cuts his hand, and all that craziness that Judah Nazareth shared with us. I have to say that I too have those same types of stories. And so I was fully engaged. I said I was fully engaged in what Judah Nazareth was sharing with us. And thank you, Judah Nazareth, for sharing with us the sensitive information. And so Brother Judah Nazareth went on to share that his marriage was on the skids. His marriage was on rocky roads. He shared with us the customs of Japanese women and the way they think, the way they are programmed. Really weird and crazy stuff. For example, Judah Nazareth shared with us that his wonderful and beautiful wife thinks that if she initiates sex first, she's being a whore. That's whorish behavior. And Judah Nazareth, being a black American, an African American, raised in America with the black experience, is like, what in the fuck? How are you being a whore for wanting to make love to your husband, or for wanting to initiate the act of love making with your husband? For we Americans, we are, that shit is like super weirdos ideology, but that's, according to Judah Nazareth, that's how Japanese women are built and programmed. That if there's going to be sex, the man must always initiate the sex, the foreplay, must always say, let's go to the bedroom. And we as black men, for sure, we as men in general, that shit can get tiring and boring. We want our woman, on occasion, to be the aggressor. That's the American way. That's the American sexual way. We want our woman to initiate sex whenever she feels like she wants to fuck us. We want to come home from a hard day's work, and we want to be met in our fantasies. Sometimes we want to be met at the front door with our woman on bended knee. And as you walk in the door, she says, pull your cock out. I want to give you a blowjob at the front door. That's what we want. Does it happen? I don't know. But in the Japanese woman's mind, they cannot be the initiator or the aggressor of sex. For the Japanese woman feels like if she goes to her husband, not just a dude, if she tries to initiate sex with her husband, she is being a whore. And so these are the kinds of things that Brother Judah shared with me. I'm 65 years old, and I had no clue of the Japanese mindset. Even though I enjoy me some good Japanese porn, I never would have known that from watching Japanese porn. The times I've watched Japanese porn, it does appear that the women are more timid and reserved until they start getting fucked, and then they loosen up. But I would never have known that Japanese women, married Japanese women, feel it is an offense and affront to be the aggressor or the initiator of sex with their husbands. And so I felt Brother Judah's frustration. That's got to be frustrating. To every time you want sex, you got to initiate it. And going further than the sex act, Brother Judah explained that he started feeling like his wife was his roommate. In Japanese culture, I didn't know this either, but according to Brother Judah, in Japanese culture, they don't do PDAs, public displays of affection, PDA. The Japanese societies don't hold hands and kiss and say I love you and huggy, kissy, feely, touchy. That's not a Japanese thing. And so Judah, although he has 4 children by this Japanese woman, he found himself in a conundrum. I love my wife, but culturally, this shit ain't working. I want affection. I want to hold hands and kiss. I want my wife to approach me. I want my wife to take the lead in having sex. Black men, as Judah Nazareth said, men in general, we think about sex once every 17 minutes or something like that, statistically. And at the age, I think he's 49, 48, 49. I was 48, 49 once upon a time. You still want to fuck. I'm 65, and I still want to fuck every day. Yes. And so it was a very heart-wrenching, very personal video that we witnessed last night. And I thank Brother Judah Nazareth for stepping out of his comfort zone and talking to us about that. I don't agree with some of his premises about, he's warring with the devil and all that, all that super spiritual goobly gob that he might throw on top of it. But that's his Israelite thing. I don't think it has anything to do with spirituality or none of that. We're talking about a Japanese culture and an American culture, and that's what we got here. That's what we got. But I thank Judah Nazareth, again, for informing us and allowing us to come into his world to understand these things. Because truly, I learned a lot from listening to Brother Judah Nazareth. That's why the Bible says to us older people, and the little child shall lead them. Judah Nazareth is like a little child compared to me. But he taught me some things about the dynamics of Japanese society and their social, cultural, and sexual norms and mores. At 65, I learned some things last night from Brother Judah. And I'm happy to hear that he and his wife sat down and had some discussions and talked these things through, and he reports to us that his wife is going to try to do better, going to try to soften her Japanese morals, and hoping she'll understand that if she gets wet between the legs and feels sexually aroused, that it's not her being a whore to come and tell her husband, baby, I need you to come and fuck this pussy tonight. She might not say it in those kind of terms, the terms that we men love to hear. We men, we love to hear a woman say some nasty shit to us. I do. I loved when my woman says, come in here and fuck this pussy tonight. Okay, come in here and make love to me. Okay, we like to love making love stuff too, but at some point we want to get a little bit more nastier with the words, with the verbiage. But that was a great video, and again, we thank you, Brother Judah, for sharing your world. I think we need to do more of this. Now, some people are worried that people take their stories and they use it against. I don't worry about that stuff. There's a fuck nigga on YouTube right now. 2 weeks ago, he was talking all reckless about me being in a cult and being an FBI government informant and witness protection and being ran out of Miami. He was talking this shit. And I loved it. Because all it did was make me turn around and do a 12-part series with receipts, with newspaper clippings and magazine articles and TV shows and books that people have written about me, and show that what this person was saying about me is bullshit to the 10th degree. So and then I'm 65, I just don't worry about other YouTubers hearing my story and going out there They don't like me, so they go out there and they try to create another narrative. I like that shit. I like when they do that. Because if I feel like challenging the veracity or the truthfulness of what they're saying, I got all the receipts to show that what they say about me is a motherfucking lie. That's the beauty of it. I get it. People are afraid to share. There are people who have shared their stories of how they lost their children. And we sympathize and we empathize with them. So long as they are repentant, so long as they are willing to lay the blame of how they lost their child on themselves and not blame outside entities like the state of Alabama, we are with these mothers. We cry for the mother who lost her child. We are shaken and moved by the mother who loses her child. We have empathy and sympathy for the mother who loses her child and takes full responsibility for her lack of motherhood and lack of parental guidance. We respect a mother who had a tough life and found herself on the wrong end of being a parent. Nobody's going to, I'm not going to critique and criticize a mother who loses her child to the state of Alabama and comes on camera and says, I was a bad mother. I was on drugs. I was prostituting. I was running behind no name, no count, bum ass niggas. My priorities were all fucked up. My children weren't my priority. I gave my daughter to my mother to raise. I fucked around and got pregnant again, and I gave the child up and did everything else until the state came in and took my child. I was totally at fault, not the state of Alabama. And I'm working on my life. I'm working on myself. And I pray that my son and my daughter forgive me. And I'm working to be a better parent and a better mother and a better human being. These are the kind of stories when we hear people tell their stories who are repentant and who lay the blame on themselves. We respect it. We don't make fun of them. We wish them well. We pray for them to reunite with their children. But when bum bitches come out here who have those stories, but try to lay the blame on the state of Alabama and on Auntie and on John and Micah and Mama and them, we don't respect those kinds of stories. And we begin to deconstruct and devalue and criticize and critique those kinds of narratives whereby a mother loses her child but doesn't take any responsibility on the matter. Those are the kind of stories we reject. And those are the kind of narratives where you get talked about and ridiculed because you have not dealt with the fact of the matter is that you were that child's first goddess and you were that child's first protector. If the white man got involved, you allowed that shit to happen. And so, but when you come on as Judah Nazareth did and tell a heart-wrenching and gut-wrenching story about growing up with an abusive father that kicked your ass and your mother's ass for sport and play, and how those ass whippings affected you growing up. As Judah Nazareth tells us, it made him want to bully the bullies. It made Judah Nazareth want to go out and beat up people that he deemed were bad people. That's what happens in childhood. Our parents, they shaped and mold us through their actions of what kind of people we're going to be. But here's the catch. Even though some of us grow up with abusive fathers and abusive mothers, I too grew up with an abusive father. I don't know what it is about me, Khalil Amani. I don't know if the universe was smiling down on me. I don't know if I was just a super enlightened child. But at a very young, tender age, 9, 10, 11, seeing the abuse that my father was putting down on me and my siblings and my mother, at a young age, 9, 10, 11, I made a mental note. I made a mental note that I would never be the kind of father and man that my father was. That's a rare thing, because a lot of times, as the parents are, so go the children. If the father was abusive, the son, he will grow up and he will learn from the ways of his abusive father, and he too will abuse women. It goes that way a lot of fucking times. But I'm just so glad. And I can say to you all, at 65 years old, I've never beat a woman in my life. Going beyond beating a woman, I've never verbally cursed out a woman. I've never called a woman, you fucking no slut bitch. I've never even done that. I'm a gentle man. But at a very young age, seeing my father beat up my mother as Judah Nazareth saw his father beat up his mother, it didn't make me want to go bully the bullies as it made Judah Nazareth do. It made me not want to ever fight a human being. And at 65 years old, I've had one fight in my whole life. And I won that fight. I had one fight in my whole life. 27 years old, I had one fight with a Mexican. And I beat the dog shit out of him. I'm not proud of it. Yeah, I am proud of it. Because somewhere in a man's mind, sometimes we think, what does it feel like to take a punch? What does it feel like to really go mano a mano and test your human strength and test your skill in boxing and fighting in a real fight? I always wondered that. But sadly, I have to report to you all that I never felt what it felt like to take a real punch. Because I got off on that Mexican gentleman. I got off on him so good, he couldn't even throw a punch. 27, wop, 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 down to the ground, wop, wop, wop. And then I gave him the hard bottom special. I stomped him out. Never got touched. So I don't know what it feels like to get punched by a man. Now, at 65, I don't want to know. But there was some curiosity. How could I do in a fight? Would I be okay if I took one to the jaw? Would I be able to? I don't want to know now. But I want to say to Judah Nazareth, that was a great live. I mean, at the expense of your pain, it was great that you shared your life. The tears that help make it real. When you can cry while you're talking, that comes from pain. That comes from truth and sincerity. That shit is summing up from some deep well, some deep reservoir inside. When you begin to tell about your childhood and you cry on camera. I appreciated that, Brother Judah. Now, I talked in the very beginning about this guy, Israel Doctrine, I gotta say it, the Arkansas guy. You and him have a debate coming up, and you canceled the debate one day. I think you canceled twice. You moved it because you had things going on. And so today you got this Israel Doctrine fella over there talking mad, disrespectful shit, claiming that all of your tears and all of your childhood backstory is only to buy time and to gain sympathy for the debate. But this is what fuck niggas like the Arkansas dude does. They think the world revolves around them. They think that you are on their schedule. But this is what happens when you entertain fuck niggas who absolutely have no life. I mean, can you imagine? The highlight of Israel Doctrine's, I'm going to use his name on this one. The highlight of Israel Doctrine's life is waiting to debate you, Brother Judah Nazareth. And he watched that video like I watched it. And he finds no empathy. He finds no sympathy. He finds no compassion in the fact that you cried to us and told us that you were on the verge of divorce. And today, this fuck nigger, hard R, comes on camera, not buying your tears, not wanting to be empathetic or sympathetic. He's only focused on, we're going to debate. He's a selfish bastard. Selfish motherfucker. A motherfucker that doesn't know how to discern. Empathy. Does not know how to discern real crises in a person's life. Does not have respect for the bond of matrimony. You told us, Judah Nazareth, that your marriage was up for divorce. And this nigga named Israel Doctrine is on YouTube thinking that you crying and you telling us that your marriage is on the rocks. That you pondered divorcing your wife. He comes on not concerned with your personal well-being, your personal life. This fuck nigga, Israel Doctrine, he's concerned about a postponement of a fucking debate. But this is what happens, Judah Nazareth. When you get in bed with dogs, you come up with fleas. Israel Doctrine, he's a dog. And now you have fleas on you, Brother Judah, in accepting to debate him. And then his queen, you know who his queen is. I don't fuck with her either. I call his queen Miss Trout Mouth. If you've ever seen her mouth, she's got very few teeth in her mouth. All this shit is gone. Thus I call her Trout Mouth. She looks like a goddamn piranha in the mouth. Queen, I know she's not your enemy. But she's over there on his channel trying to make him, Israel Doctrine, see your pain and your trials and tribulations. But she's so stupid herself that she would end her video portion talking about begging you, Brother Judah, to please go ahead and debate Israel doctrine so we can get past this shit. Stupid as fuck herself. So I say to you, my brother, if you don't feel up to debating, don't debate him. If you don't feel like you have your material together, don't debate him. Deal with real life circumstances, my brother Judah. Motherfuck a debate. See, Brother Judah, you have something that Israel doctrine will never ever have. He's going to go to his grave unmarried and fatherless, childless. You, on the other hand, Brother Judah, the universe, God, Yahweh, Yahweh, the higher power has blessed you with a beautiful wife and 4 beautiful children. But that nigga over there, Israel doctrine, is claiming that Satan and the devil is working on you and beating you up because of your non-belief in Jesus the Messiah. That's all bullshit. No. The universe or God or Jesus has beat up Israel doctrine, has not given him a wife, has not given him children, and has only given that nigga a fucking stroke. But it's niggas like Israel doctrine that will see another person going through something such as yourself, Brother Judah, with your wife, and come on camera and say that Satan, the devil, is beating up you because you're a disbeliever in the Christ message. But they don't even look at their own life and say, well, how you get a fucking stroke at 44? How you can't do nothing with your left side? Every time Israel doctrine talk, he's talking with his right hand only. This shit ain't nothing going on with the left side. And I'm not making fun of that. I'm saying bitch niggas like Israel doctrine will say that God is kicking your ass, Brother Judah, fucking with your marriage, Brother Judah, because you don't believe in Yeshua HaMashiach, because you don't believe in Jesus the Messiah, because you don't believe in Yeshua ben Yosef, because you don't believe in Jesus Christ. That's what fuck niggas do when people are talking about real life situations and circumstances that got nothing to do with religion, God, Jesus, or nothing. These are human dynamics that we're talking about. Marriage and the possibility of divorce. But the nigga over there, Israel doctrine, I heard him. He says your shit is fucked up because you don't believe in Jesus. Well, you believe in Jesus. Israel doctrine believes in Jesus. But at 44 years old, he can never do a push-up again. He can never run again. He can never pick a bitch up and hold her in his arms like this while he's banging her against a wall. He can never do this. I'm talking about Israel doctrine. He can never do this again. Because that left side's fucked. And he says he believes in Jesus. Again, I'm not making fun of his stroke. I'm just saying, when a fuck nigga like that can say that your marriage is going to hell and this is happening in your life because you don't believe in Jesus, well, what the fuck can we say about you? You live in a 1-bedroom apartment with no furniture. You sleep on a motherfucking pallet mattress, blow-up mattress on the floor. When you gotta pee at night, you roll over and you pee on a wooden or laminated floor and go back to sleep. And when you get up in the morning, you get the mop and the bleach and then you clean up. You can't even get up and go to the bathroom at 3 a.m. to relieve your bowels because you can't get up off that side. Not only does Israel Doctrine piss on the bed, you better believe that nigga done took a good shit in his underwear and let that shit stay until he got up in the morning and then went and washed his ass and put the doo-doo out of his underwear and took a shower. You better believe that shit. I'm only saying these things that when fuck niggas like Israel Doctrine tried to say that God or Jesus is working on you because of your belief system. That's what he's saying about you, Brother Judah. He said your marriage is a direct correlation with your disbelief in Jesus. That's what he's saying. But look at his life. The nigga is going to die without having a fucking child. Does he want children? You damn right he says he wants children. The nigga is going to die without having a wife. Does he want a wife? You damn right he says he wants a wife. I'm just saying. Nothing about Israel Doctrine's life is glorious or glamorous. Glamorous. So I say to you, Brother Brother Judah, take time for self-healing. Take time for self-preservation. If he wants to say that you're running, let him say that. We all know you're not. We all know, Judah Nazareth, that you are a great debater, that your information is top-notch. I enjoy watching you from the bushes many a times. I think you are solid in your biblical teaching. I think there ain't too many people fucking with you in your biblical teaching. Judah Nazareth, I think you are one of the top Israelite teachers / scholars in the community. You better take my praise because my praise means something. Check my resume. I think you are the creme de la creme. Judah Nazareth, I think you are the creme de la creme of the Israelite school of thought. And understand this about this debate. Everything that Israel Doctrine is going to bring out is shit that you already know. He's on the losing end already based on Ananias. He doesn't know anything about Ananias other than the quick Google search, the quick Yahoo search, the quick Wikipedia search that he did to prepare for this. But you've been studying Ananias for a long time. He's on the defensive. He's not going to enter no new knowledge. He's not going to say one new thing that you've never heard. But this conversation about Ananias, I'm a Bible scholar. And the shit is new to me. Brother Judah, I wrote 6 books. And 4 of these are about religion. And you taught me something about Ananias. I didn't have that knowledge. Young man, you have taught me. So when and if you decide to debate Israel Doctrine, even though this fuck nigga, his so-called queen, put some poll out there, who gonna win? Of course, the poll is going to be biased and slanted and say that Israel Doctrine is going to win. But who has Israel Doctrine ever beat in a debate, really? Israel Doctrine loses every debate he's entered. He wants to debate me, but I am the one man on YouTube that refuses to debate him. Not because I'm scared. I'll wipe his ass in the Bible. But because of his disrespect the things he said about my mother, my siblings, the things he said about my children, and the things he said about me. But I say to you, Brother Judah, you have a real life outside of YouTube. And if you don't feel like this is the time to debate Israel doctrine, give that nigga the middle finger and said, I'll see you when I see you. Put that bitch nigga on ice. And let him make 1,000 videos claiming that you scared and you running from him. We know, yo. We know you. We know your biblical acumen. We know your religious acuity. We know that you are keen and have the keenness of insight about biblical matters. Let that nigga stay on ice if you're not feeling right. Deal with your family and your wife and the real world shit. This is what he doesn't have. This is why he's butthurt that the debate didn't happen when it was supposed to happen. Because this bitch nigga has no life. And when you have no life, you sit around waiting on things like debate. Debating you, my good brother, is another highlight of his life. But you don't need to debate Israel doctrine. He needs to debate you. You don't need Israel doctrine on your resume of debates. He needs you on his resume because he's homeless. He has an apartment. He's unemployed. All he has is this YouTube medium. You got a whole beautiful wife. And your wife is only 42. I got children older than your wife, my nigga, my good brother. Your wife is a tenderoni. When I look at her at 42, and I got a whole 44-year-old daughter, your wife is a tenderoni. Go fix your marriage. Work that shit out for the sake of you, for the sake of her, and for the sake of those 4 beautiful babies you got. If your head is not in the right place to debate Israel doctrine, fuck him. Fuck him. He's already disrespecting you, my brother. Have you heard him talk about you lately? He's already highly disrespectful. You even told him, you can talk about my mama. I don't deal with motherfuckers like that. I don't know how you do it. But I'll never sit and debate a motherfucker who's just disrespectful to me. Make 100 videos calling me afraid if you want. But I sleep good at night because my name, my face, and my brand is not attached to that fuck nigga Israel doctrine. And so I'm going to close here. But just understand, my good brother, Judah Nazareth, I got respect for you. And don't get it twisted. Sinetter, I know y'all got y'all thing. I know Israel doctrine don't like Sinetter. I know you got issue with Sinetter. Sinetter is my brother. Sinetter is my brother. Even though we haven't been speaking in almost a year, I ain't never heard him speak bad of me. And I'm not going to speak bad of him. It's a tangled web. These many YouTube relationships. I know you're okay with Israel doctrine, even though he disrespects the fuck out of you. I don't get that. But take time, Brother Judah Nazareth, for your family and for yourself, is what I'm saying. Don't be pressured. Don't be pressured to debate. Good people, people with empathy and sympathy, people who understand the human condition. We know that shit happens and shit comes up. And sometimes we say things and we cannot always fulfill them. Nobody has ever fulfilled everything they've ever said. Nobody. We've all said things that we were not able to fulfill for whatever circumstance. So I say to you, my good brother, if you're not feeling this debate thing, tell Israel Doctrine the debate is off, and maybe I'll deal with you at another time. I got real life family shit going on, and I'm not in a good headspace. That's all you gotta tell him, and let that fuck nigga go off into obscurity and do what he's been doing, disrespecting you. With that, y'all, shout out for y'all listening. Comment. I need more subscribers. It's a new channel. Can you please subscribe? All right, y'all. Take care. Peace. God bless.